Hello everyone. In this session, I would like to demonstrate you Git, GitHub, what is Git, why we need Git, what is a branch, what is the branching strategy. I'm going to explain in detail again one more time. You go to any interview with respect to cloud or DevOps, they ask you this common question: what is a Git branching strategy that you are aware of? Okay, how you have leveraged the advantage or how you have leveraged the utilization of Git in your project. So that is very important. And Git is a version control system. You go to any company, you use this. Okay, you name big companies like Facebook, YouTube, any big companies, everyone uses this Git. What is Git? Git is a version control system. Okay, so why you need a version control system? Okay, so why you need a version control system? So for example, Surendra, who is in my team, has want to save some changes, and he started saving his code on the top of something, and someone me went and tried to do some changes, and whatever the changes I made, okay, were caused outage in the system. So if you don't have version control system, whatever the changes that you made won't be captured in a version approach. That means you have added one line in the Git, it shows you this XYZ person has added a line, or ABC person has deleted the line, or someone has added this, including the timestamps along with the name of the person. You can track. That is the advantage of Git. Okay, and second advantage is parallel development is achievable with Git. Okay, so these two are the very important things that helps you in leveraging the usage or the importance of implementing Git. You name any company, I say 100 out of 100 company uses Git. Okay, that's the beauty of it. Okay, so Git is a local version control system. Okay, so a lot of interviews people ask you, what is the difference between Git versus GitHub? GitHub, Git is a local version control system. Local. Okay, so when I say local, that means I'm referring to on the top of your own computer. Okay, Git is a local version control system. Okay, that means whatever you do, whatever the version control that you wish to do is strictly on the top of your computer. Okay, that can be any server as well. Okay, which you only have access to. All right, and this can be your Git, which you have installed on the top of your computer, is also referred as a local Git. All right. Now, the another Git is, okay, which people talk, majority of the people will ask and people will confuse is GitHub, okay, which is a central version control system. Okay, in one company, they'll have one GitHub. So where they share central, in all the company, all the projects, everyone saves their code or saves their project on the top of a central server, and that's called as local Git central version control systems. Okay, so GitHub is a product from Microsoft. I mean, GitHub started as an open source project, but then I think a couple of years back, it was acquired by GitHub is acquired by Microsoft. So technically, GitHub is a Microsoft product. Okay, GitHub is a Microsoft product. The alternatives to GitHub, the alternatives to GitHub is GitHub are. Let me try to talk about that. The alternatives to what happened? Yeah, the alternatives to GitHub are. These are the alternatives to GitHub. Bitbucket is a product from Atlassian. We also have something called as GitLab. Okay, these two are the you see Bitbucket also highly used and GitLab also highly used in any companies, but 90% of the companies go with GitHub and Bitbucket, GitHub only. Okay, so but for us it doesn't matter. For us, Git is a Git. Okay, Git is a Git. Okay, so that's it, and that's the reason why we use Git. And Git is also from the same person who has developed and who has initiated the project called as Linux, and the name of the person who has developed this Git is Linus Torvalds, the same gentleman. Okay, the same gentleman who has introduced this. Okay, So the same person who has worked on it is Linus Torvalds. So 99% of the world's infrastructure is on Linux machines. And again, 99% of the world's code that developed by the developers is again on the top of the GitHub only. Okay. So Linus Torvalds, he's the contributor. He's the major contributor to it. So why he has developed is, so he was working on some projects, and as a part of the projects, he and his team, yesterday a few of the team members says that, hey sir, I have worked on the project and it is yielding me the result. The next day they do some changes, and again when they're testing and it was not working, and they're not sure what changes they made and what were the changes that they have added that has made the changes that were pushed today, okay, had caused the failure of the jobs or failure of the project. They were never sure what has made the changes and what is the piece that has caused the issue. In order to overcome that, Linus Torvalds has created a software which is nothing but a Git, which is popularly adopted in almost all the companies. Okay, and so let's try to start about it and why. I was talking about the what I was talking about. I was talking about how it's possible to adopt and how come parallel development is possible with Git. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Parallel development, how parallel development is possible. Let's talk about it. How parallel development. Okay, how parallel development is possible. Let's try to talk about it. If you have any questions, feel free to post me your questions. I'm happy to address them. How parallel development is possible. So for example, how parallel development is possible. So I have 3 teammates whose names are, okay, I have 3 teammates whose names are Mike, Steve, Peter. So I have 3 developers who are working in my project, and the name of the project that these gentlemen are working on, and the project that they are working on is, they're working on an application called as payment. Okay, they are all working on a project called as payment application. Okay, now Steve is working on one project. Okay, Steve is working on one feature. Feature is nothing but, if you take WhatsApp voice call is one feature. WhatsApp video call is one feature. WhatsApp emoticons is one feature. WhatsApp UPI is one feature. So like that, all 3 guys are working on 3 different features. So this guy is working on feature 1, and Stevie is working on feature 2, and Peter is working on feature 3. Okay, and it's not like whatever the changes that are existing should not break each other changes. What exactly I meant? Let's try to see that. All these days, how are we working? Let's talk about it. All these days, how are we working? Okay, so let's try to see that. How are we working all these days? Let's try to talk about it in detail. So how are we working all these days? Let's try to talk about it. So we are having GitHub. Okay, we are having GitHub. For example, if you have taken our repository, in our repository, for example, whatever the changes that you are trying to make, okay, for example, you come here, we are directly pushing our changes to this branch, right? Main branch. What is a branch? Branch is one of the most common word that is used in Git or in the GitHub or in the space of Git. It means it is a version or a copy of your main working code. Okay, so whatever the changes that you make, okay, should never ever be done directly on the top of the main branch. Okay, whatever the changes that are well tested and whatever the changes that are ready to deploy into the customer environment, okay, are placed on the main branch. Okay, if a code, okay, if your software or the programs that you have written, if they are residing on the main branch, that means they are well tested, buy, and they are ready to be deployed to the production. And that's the reason whenever you want to do any sort of changes, okay, all these days, what we are doing, we are trying to deploy the changes directly from your computer. Okay, what we are doing directly, we are pushing the changes to the main branch, right? Since we don't know anything GitHub, and that's the reason we are doing this way. Okay, but now since we are learning it, this is not the right way. So what we're gonna do is we are going to check out a new branch. Okay, well, when you say checkout is nothing but a word which describe you're cutting down from the branch. Okay, that can be from the main branch or any branch of your choice. Okay, so branch should always be checked out. Okay, which is nothing but you always need to take a copy, take a version of that from the main branch. Okay, so for example, since you are working on the main branch, what we're gonna do is we're gonna check out. The word is check out. We're gonna check out from the main branch. Okay, so let me try to represent it in dotted lines. Okay, so we're gonna represent it in dotted lines. Now you have checked out a branch. That means you have copied the code, okay, from the main branch because you're working on feature branch, and you should not do any sort of changes directly into the production environment without proper permission or without proper validation. So what you're doing, you want to do the testing on the top of some XYZ okay, branch. Since you're working on a feature branch, I would like to name it as, okay, I would like to name it as a feature branch. Okay, since you're working on XYZ, how to create a branch, all these things we'll talk about it. So feature, okay. And for example, if you are working on some task, the task will have a number, right? Ticket number or a story number, task 1, 2, 3. Task 1, 2, 3. So in 1, 2, 3, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna check out the branch, which is nothing but you're gonna take a copy of it from the main branch, and then whatever the changes that you want to make, you're gonna do them on the top of this branch. Okay, these red color balls indicates commits. Okay, whatever the changes that you want to make, you're gonna make them on the top of your branch. That's all. Okay, then once you have done whatever the feature or whatever the changes that you want to add, you're gonna do them on the top of the feature branch or any branch. Okay, so since you're working on feature branch, we are going to add it on the feature task 1, 2, 3 branch. Done. Now, once the developers or once the DevOps engineers or the cloud engineers, whatever the changes that they want to make, okay, they want to make, since they never ever do directly on the top of the main branch or on the prod branch, what they're gonna do is they're gonna clone it, they're gonna check out a branch, and then they're gonna do all the changes on the top of the feature branch. On the top of the feature branch. And then what they do, they test it, the changes locally first. Okay. When you say locally, whatever the code that they have written, they'll test it locally first. If things work well, what they're gonna do is they're gonna merge the changes. Okay. They're gonna raise a PR to another branch called as okay. Again, this varies from organization to organization. It's 100% might not be the same. For example, in any company, you have minimum 4 environments. Okay, development environment. Okay, whatever the changes that you want to make, you never ever do directly on the production servers. You do it on the development servers, and that's the reason we name the branch as a dev branch. Now, once you are done with the changes, you're gonna raise a PR. Okay, so you don't raise a PR to the production branch. Instead, you raise a PR to the development branch. So what is a PR? PR stands for pull request. Okay, in Bitbucket we call it as a, okay, in GitHub space we call PR pull request. Okay, raising a request asking, hey boss, these are the changes that I have done. For example, I have file number a.txt. On the top of a.txt, I have removed 3 lines and I have added 6 lines. Now I want this to be tested on the development environment, so that I would like to push my changes to the development branch. I would like to push my changes to the development branch. So once and it's not like directly you go and try to push your changes to the development branch. No, it will never happen. So this development branch will already be there. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna raise a pull request. Pull request is nothing but you're asking permission. Hey, these are the changes that I have written as a part of the task. Can you please review my changes? Okay, usually, typically in your company, the seniors in the team, like your leads or the tech leads or the seniors in the team, will evaluate whatever the changes you made. Are they really correct or not? Okay, so they'll ask you, hey, did you happen to test them locally? And did you happen to test them locally? And if they say yes, they'll try to approve it if the changes looks good. Okay, so development environment is least prioritized environment. So usually in almost all the companies, so we try to do all sort of development and all sort of minor testings on the top of the development environment. Okay, so once the PR is reviewed and once it is approved, then you get an option to merge your changes into the development branch. Merge your changes into the development branch. Usually, how we try to tag is whatever the changes that you make into the development environment will directly go to the development service or the development infrastructure. Okay, this we are already aware. Whatever the changes you make in dev branch should go to the development environment. So since we are talking about the payment application, payment development server. Okay, this is the payment. Okay, now you do the changes on the top of this environment and you test it. And if changes looks good, what you're gonna do is you're gonna raise another PR to another branch. What is the branch? Let's talk about it. So as per our understanding, in each and every company, the minimum have two environments. Sorry, four environments. Okay, so the another environment is QA environment. Okay, so whatever the changes that were done and that were tested on the top of the development environment by the development team, what they do is they raise another PR to the QA branch. They're gonna raise another PR to QA branch. Okay, QA branch stands for quality. QA stands for it's a quality analyst. It's like a testing environment. Okay, this environment will have major access to your testing team. Okay, so all your developers will have higher level of access on the top of this QA environment. And once you raise a PR to the QA branch, okay, again you'll get the same question. What is the question? They'll ask you, hey, this changes looks good. If the changes that they make are looking good, then they'll try to ask you any questions. If not, they'll try to approve the PR. Okay, if the changes looks good and if they don't have any questions, they'll approve the PR. If they have any questions, I think I am skeptical about the changes. Can you please let me know why are you doing this? Can you please correct this? Can you please do that? They'll ask you like that. And once you are done with that, okay, they'll ask you another question. Have you done the changes? Okay, what are the things that you have told me? Are they tested on the top of the development server? Once you mention, yes, I have mentioned, I have tested, your developers have tested on the top of the development environment, then they'll try to approve the PR. Once the PR is approved, okay, your changes will go to the QA environment. Okay, again, similarly, your QA environment, okay, for example, your QA environment, okay, similarly also have another server. This is something, let me try to put it in the green color, red color. Okay, so whatever the changes, so the changes that are approved or that are present on the top of the QA server, okay, QA branch will go to the QA environment. Okay, this is payment QA server. Since you're talking about payment, we're talking about the payment application only. Okay, so this will be exclusively validated by the QA. Exclusive validated by the QA. Once the changes looks good, then what the developer does, once the QA engineers has given sign off that these changes are looking good, then what your the respective person who has pushing the changes across the board or the engineer who is working on the feature task 1, 2, 3, what he gonna do is he's gonna raise another PR to the pre-prod branch. Okay, so pre-prod branch, what is a pre-prod branch? A branch which is almost looking like the same as your main branch. Okay, whatever the change, what is okay. The main reason why we need to have a pre-prod branch is, or this is also called a staging branch. Different companies calls as different ways. This is pre-prod branch. Okay, this is the pre-prod branch, and in this pre-prod branch, okay, so the main reason why we are hosting pre-prod is, okay, whenever you want to do any sort of changes, whenever you want to add any sort of feature, typically we cannot directly deploy them here, right? We want to test, we want to have a similar environment which is looking like exactly like prod, to make sure if the changes are working on prod, it should work on prod. If the changes are working on pre-prod, it should also work on the prod. Okay, because you need to have a similar environment, right? Because your production servers are nothing but the customer facing server. You don't want to just to take a faith, right? You cannot say that it is working on QA, so I'll directly deploy into the prod. No, never. You always need to ensure that the changes are well tested on the top of the pre-prod environment. So your pre-prod and prod are almost looking like the same. If it works on pre-prod, that means it will definitely work on prod, because customer facing servers will never ever be deployed directly. Okay, all right. So what they're gonna do is, now once the QA changes looks good, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the again the PR to another branch. Okay, this is called as Git branching strategy. And this branching strategy name is Git flow. Okay, where each and every environment is tagged with an appropriate branch. Okay, so if you are running a job against the development branch, the infrastructure deployment will happen to the development environment. If the changes are coming from the QA branch, they'll directly go to the QA environment. So like that, you'll have a better control. Okay, like that, you'll have a better control. All right, guys, and majority of the majority of the vlogs, majority of the articles, everything says that, even as per my personal experience, this is one of the highly used branching strategy. Okay, almost all the big companies uses this type of strategy just to ensure, for example, if you are having just one branch, accidentally if you run this branch, it should not go to the production environment, right? So this way you'll have a better control. Okay, whatever the changes that are deployed to the QA branch, okay, and if they are tested well and if they are looking good, then we'll raise a PR to the pre-prod branch. Okay, and again it has to go through the pull request. Again, someone has to review that, and once they pass the review and if things looks good, then the PR will be approved, and once the PR is approved, then it will go to the merge. Let's try to see this, and this is a pre-prod. Okay, here you need to understand one more thing. There is a process called as change control board. Okay, there is a process called as change control board. Let's talk about it. Okay, and let's try to complete this, and then we'll go to that. And once the changes are published here, and then if the changes looks good, then we'll raise the changes to the change to the main branch. Okay, because it has to go through these many environments, then only you can show things are clean. Okay, and this is how the process is strict in any company. Okay, almost all the, because development matters a lot, because end of the day you cannot do any changes directly on your customer environment, right? So that's the reason it has to go through all the flow, and it is one of the most proven and highly adopted Git branching strategy that you see in the industry. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's try to change the color. Payment prod server. Okay, once the PR is approved, then it goes to the production branch. Okay, and here is the catch. And here is the catch. Whatever the changes that you want to do, okay, whatever the changes that you wish to do, whatever the changes that you wish to do, you'll have a free hand to do the deployment or to update the changes on development servers or in the payment servers. But you'll never ever have a free hand, or it's not like whenever you want to do update the changes or whenever you want to do the changes on the top of the development environment, you cannot do it just like how you're doing on development environment, prod environment. Okay, so production changes are always scheduled. Okay, whenever you want to do any sort of changes on pre-prod or prod, you need to go with some strategy. Okay, I'll talk about that strategy. But in interview, if they ask you what is the Git branching strategy that you're using in your company, you can tell this way. If you answer this way, definitely people will understand that you know a lot of things. Okay, majority of the people in interview, they fail to answer this question. Okay, the moment you fail to answer this question, people will easily come to know that you just go through some self-learning and you are not well aware of the concept. Okay, so in order to suspend that impression of them on you, just try to answer and try to practice them, okay, better, so that you'll have a better exposure on this. Okay, and this type of strategy is called as promotion strategy. Okay, so this type of strategy is called as promotion strategy, and what you're seeing is called as a Git promotion strategy. Okay, promotion strategy. Promotion is nothing but you have one branch. Okay, you have one project, and the project will have one branch, and each and every branch is tagged with a respective environment, so that multiple branches are tagged with multiple environments. And this strategy is called as promotion strategy, and this flow is called as a Git flow. Okay, if they ask you, okay, and one project cannot have both promotion and other strategies. One company, one project will have one branching strategy, and this strategy is called as Git flow. Okay, and logically this is called referred as Git promotion strategy. Okay, because you're cloning the, you're checking out a branch and you're promoting it from lower environment. Dev is a lower environment, QA is the next higher environment, and pre-prod is the next higher environment, and main is the next higher environment. Next higher environment, and this type of strategy is called as promotion strategy. This type of strategy is called as promotion strategy. All right. Any questions, anyone so far? All right. So since we spoke about this, I also want to talk a couple more things about this. So I'll talk about this Git commands and all these things in the later section, but I would like to give you again one more heads up. So software release strategy. Okay. Okay. So for example, Microsoft Windows. Okay, they release software, right? 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 8.1, 8.2, Windows 10, 10.1, 10.2, Windows 11, Windows 12. So they are releasing the software, right? Each and every version of software will have some feature or some fixes to the previous issues. So like that, you'll have a lot of fixes that are modified or a lot of features that are added, right? So in order to release the software, they need to follow some strategy. So in almost all the companies, they follow either one of the strategy. And one of the strategy is, okay, one of the strategy is, let's talk about it. There are two strategies in general. Okay, in a company, they follow either this or that. So one of the strategy is promotion strategy. Okay, one method is promotion, which you already saw. Okay, this is promotion strategy, and this promotion strategy involves multiple branches. Okay, so for example, if you are having 3 environments, prod, pre-prod, and QA, you have those many branches. Okay, so it is strictly based on the branches, and if any changes has to go through the production, it has to go through all the PR reviews and all the way. Okay, so for example, here you can have multiple branches. So let's talk about that. Just like how I have defined. Let's talk about that. Since we just now we have discussed, I'd like to highlight that. So okay, so main or master, both of them are same. So right now they're referring it as a main branch. Okay, so earlier version of Git, they used to release it, the default branch used to be master. Now it's a main branch, and then is pre-prod, or it's also called as staging, and another is QA branch, and another is dev branch. Okay, likewise, branches are going to be organized across the board. Okay, and when you're having multiple branches, that means you're referring to the software release strategy as promotion. Okay, and this is called as promotion strategy. All right, guys, and the other version is release strategy. Okay, so almost all the development agnostic companies or startups or companies which are highly focused on development where they release software versions aggressively, bigger companies, uh, if you go through the articles, Facebook, Google, these follow the release strategy. Okay, where things are 100% automated. Okay, including the production deployments. So here, in this case, you don't go with these many branches. Okay, here you don't go with these many branches. Here you go with a single branch. And that branch is a main branch, and rest of the branches are short living branches. And this type of model is also called as trunk based development. Okay, I also work in one of the company where they follow trunk based development. So typically in the trunk based development, okay, so again, so here in the release strategy, how you make the version, software version, like Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 8.2. You make a software, I want 8.1. You make one more software, I want 8.3. You make one more software, I want 8.4. If you want to have software versions like that, you either need to follow one thing, automatic increment, of version. Okay, again, it's purely choice of the company. Okay, I cannot comment on it. It's purely choice. So just learn it like, okay, soft automatic increment of version. That means every time you make a software release, a new version will be created automatically. How? Because you need to use some sort of scripts. Next is manual increment of version. That means you as a human being will tell the next version is 8.1 and the next version is 8.2 and the next version is 8.3. Okay, like that you will mention. And again, in your company, either you need to go with this approach and this approach. Okay, it's not both. If you say, if an interview, if they ask you what is the branching strategy that you're using, okay, if you say in my project I'm using both promotion strategy and release strategy, that is a 100% fake word. Definitely people will understand. Okay, one project will only have one strategy. Okay, so yeah. Okay, but here you use branches and here you use something called as tags. What is a tag? All these things we'll talk about it later, but for now let's try to come back here. Okay, and what is a tag? We'll talk about tags later, but if you want to go with release strategy, you need to stick to something called as tags. Okay, for now, this is how things are going to be organized. And in the trunk based development, which is nothing but the release strategy, how things are going to be organized, let's try to talk about it. Okay, so we know how promotion works. I mean, technically we haven't used any sort of command set, but let's try to see the both the approaches and then we can proceed further on it. Okay, let's try to see that. Just a second. All right. Okay, so we saw how release strategy works. We saw how promotion strategy works. Now we'll also show you how release strategy works. Okay, in the release strategy, you don't have a number of branches. Okay, it's a very straightforward thing, very straightforward thing. But this model involves, okay, high developer discipline. Okay, only companies which follow very high standards of development practices. Okay, so they follow this strategy. Some bigger companies, when any developer joins the company, they have developer etiquette call for almost 1.5 month training that they give before they start writing their first program or first line of code, because of the strategy that follow. Okay, so in the release strategy or on the trunk based model or on trunk model, only once I have experienced this. Okay, or on the trunk based model, you don't entertain a number of branches. You only stick to one branch and the name of the branch is main or master. Okay, and this is the trunk. It's called as a trunk based model. Okay, or trunk based development, anything is fine. So here you'll only have main branch. Okay, now whatever the feature that you want to do or whatever the changes that you want to make, what you do is you could just create a feature branch. Here, apart from the main branch, the rest of the branches are short living branches. This is the only main branch which will be there. Okay. Now, for example, if you are working on one feature branch, what you do is you come here and you check out a branch from here. You come here and you'll check out a branch from here. Okay. This is your feature branch. Feature branch. You work on the feature. Okay. You will create a feature and whatever the changes that you want to make, you make everything on the top of the feature branch locally. Not locally, yeah, whatever the changes that you wish to make, you just make all the changes on this feature branch or whatever the feature that you are working on. And let's see. Okay, so we're gonna do all the changes on the top of the feature branch, and then he tests the changes locally, and then what he gonna do, they're gonna raise directly into the main branch. Okay, trunk. An elephant will have one trunk, right? So similarly, so that rightly try to do the pushes to the branch. Okay, and then they'll raise a PR. Okay, once they have to raise a PR, that I have done the changes on the top of the local sandbox environment, PR pull request. Okay, so once the PR is merged, okay, once the PR is merged, what they're gonna do is they're gonna raise a tag. Okay, tag is nothing but, okay, so they're gonna raise a tag telling that this is software, okay, version 8.2. Okay, version hyphen 8.2. Okay, so tag is nothing but, okay, so tag is nothing but a name that you're giving. For example, if you come here, if you click on the commits, okay, if you click on the commits, no one can remember this, right? No one can remember this, right? So this commit ID refers, these are the software changes that you have made. That means exactly at 9:11, whatever the changes that you have made, okay, those changes are pushed and all the changes are captured by the tag. That means for on that particular commit at 9:11, whatever the changes are will be tagged. For example, if you want to make a software 8.2, you can use this tag. Okay, you can use this tag. Likewise, whenever they want to check out any branch, they'll try to check out from the respect to tag. Okay, so for example, this is not tested, right? So this tag, what they're going to do is, so using the tag, that software that they have developed, what they're going to do is they're going to make software out of the tag. And once the software is made, okay, the software payment 8.2, okay, if you, now what we're going to do is we're going to make software out of it, payment 8.2, 8.2. Now, once the software is made, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna, okay, now this branch will have the capability to do the testing on any of the branch, okay, any of the environment. For example, you're having multiple environments, like how you have, environments will be the same. The number of branches might vary. Environment should be the same. We'll have Dev, pre-prod. For example, let's consider Dev, pre-prod, and prod for now, for instance. Red. Prod should always be represented in red to indicate be cautious. Okay, done. This is pre-prod. And this is Dev branch. Okay, now from this particular tag, okay, you can do the deployment directly to the development branch as well, because now you are going to deploy the changes to the development environment. And if the changes looks good, okay, now once the changes looks good, what you're gonna do is you can deploy version 8.2 software to the pre-prod environment. Okay, to the pre-prod environment. Okay, once the changes looks good to the pre-prod environment, okay, what we end up doing is, okay, now in the pre-prod environment, once you deploy the changes to the pre-prod environment, okay, the testing team will validate whether 8.2 software is working good or not. If the 8.2 software is working good, then what they're going to do is they're going to mark this particular software as stable. Okay, as stable. So once they mark some software version as stable, that so that people who want to create one more feature branch, you know what they're gonna do? Now what they're gonna do is they're gonna clone the branch from this now. Okay, if they want to clone any branch now they'll try to clone it from the well-tested branch. Okay, this is the branch which is stable. Now if I want to clone, I will clone it from this branch. That's all. This is another feature branch. All right. This is how things are going to be operated. All right. Okay. And once the changes are tested well and if things are looking good and pre-prod, we'll try to mark that software as stable. A software which is marked as stable is ready to be deployed to the production environment. Okay. All right. That's it. You might also have another software tag created the same way. You can also consider that as tag 8. Okay. You also have the same software, but you are not going to mark it as stable. 8.3. You also have another tag. This is the tag for it. Okay, but you didn't mark it as stable. Okay, so let me try to mark it as green color because I want to mark it as stable, but red. This is not stable. Okay, I'm gonna tag things that are stable. I would like to mark them as stable. Okay, so that's how you're gonna deal that. All right. Is it clear? Any questions on this, anyone? Any questions, anyone? Yeah, Vagesh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm not finding much difference between the first one and second one. Only thing is, where we are taking the latest code from the main branch. I mean, the in the first type, and here we are taking it from the pre-prod, and remaining else remains same, right?
That's
And
it. That's it. But here you're not entertaining multiple branches, right? Agree?
okay,
Now, here is a catch. Here is a catch. Here, a lot of development principles, a lot of developer discipline is involved. Okay. You can also run the main branch code. Okay. You can also run this unstable code to the production as well. Agree or not? That thing which is not marked as stable can also be deployed to the development, can also be deployed to the main branch. Okay. To the production environment. Is it possible or not? Here in this case. I mean, in production, I mean, in projects, we do a lot of validation. That is the second way, but you still have an option to deploy version 8.2, which is not marked as stable to production. Agree or not? Vagesh.
yeah, I agree.
But if you go to the above approach, are there any chances of misfiring?
Yeah, because if you're not using the properly tested version, yeah, definitely there will be always chance of
Correct. But in
misfire.
this case,
No, here, I mean, because one thing is they are testing properly, and also it's validated by some of the senior member, each pull request. So here
exactly.
there are no chances.
You're forgetting one more point. Here, each and every branch is tagged to a particular environment, which means if you're running a QA branch, that means the job will deploy the changes from the QA branch to the QA infrastructure. Here, there is a tightly coupled between the environment and the
Correct.
branch. But here, accidental misfiring is not there. But here, there are high chances that you do some mistakes. But again, mistakes are inevitable. So it's not like as simple as if people who are using this model are are not a low IQ people, right? So definitely there are a lot of validations will be in place. Like if a deployment has to happen, whether that is having a tag stable or not, we can simple put if condition, right? Agree or not? Agree or not? Simple, right? You can put an if condition, game over. But as I said, it looks so simple, but it involves a lot of developer discipline and everyone have to follow to the same standards. And if someone joins the company, you need to explain all of them and you need to ensure that they follow the standards. So that's the reason this has lesser footprint when compared to the promotion strategy. Okay. These two are one of the widely used, okay, software release strategies. Okay. One of the strategy is, okay, promotion strategy and another strategy is a release strategy. Okay, if in interview if they ask you any sort of questions, please try to answer this way so you get a better impression. All right, any questions, anyone? I'd like to. All right, any other questions, anyone? And also guys, okay, the branches names also should be 100% accurate. Okay, so in companies, okay, you usually what we work, either we work on branch naming strategy. Okay, we saw about Git branching strategy. Now we will talk about branch naming strategy. This is also very, 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 very important. Branch naming strategy. Okay, let's talk about Git branch naming strategy. Okay, so we haven't talked about how to create a branch. Since we are still talking about theory, I'm going to talk about all these concepts in detail now. Okay, Git branching strategy. So either if there is a project, there is a payment project, again coming back to the same story, it's a payment application. It's a payment application. This is the payment application. Okay, this is a payment application and it's a main branch. Let's assume this way. Okay, main branch. Now the branch namings will be, should always be this way. Okay, either you will be working on some feature branch like WhatsApp. WhatsApp will have voice call feature, that is one feature. Video call feature, that is one feature. It will also have emoticons, that is one feature. If you are working on a brand new feature, the branch naming standard will be like, for example, you're working on feature and task hyphen number, and you need to mention voice call. Okay, or let's say UPI. Okay, so this is how you work on. For example, if you are working on another feature like, okay, so for example, if you are working on, okay, if you are working on another pay like GPay, okay, you can keep the task number followed by this. Okay, but instead of that, for example, if you are working on bug fixes, what is a bug? Okay, anything which is causing an error is called as a bug. So you have a program where 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It is supposed to come up, right? Instead of 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, if you give 2 and 2, if you're getting a value as 5, that means there is a bug in your application. Okay, so you'll also work on bugs whenever you're working on bugs. Okay, bugs you as a DevOps and cloud engineer you don't use. Okay, so as a cloud guy and DevOps guy, you also need to understand all these strategies, because you very closely work with your developer. If your developer says something, you should be in a position to understand what they say and guide them, or try to understand what they say at least, so that you can share some right inputs to them. Okay, so if you're working on a bug, okay, bug will have a number, bug number. Okay, you also need to add some description like validation mistake, like that, something like that. Okay, so usually bugs will be worked by your developers, not by you. Okay, so this is just for your understanding, because naming standards matters a lot. Okay, so for example, okay, you can also have, okay, for example, apart from that, if you are working on hotfix, okay, if you're working on hotfix, what is a hotfix? Let's try to ask internet. Okay, so anyone have any questions so far? Any questions, anyone? Any questions? All right, so when, for example, guys, hotfix, this is also one of the widely used word, hotfix. Hotfix. Okay, hotfix. So anyone can tell me what is hotfix? Anyone? 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 Anyone?
You might
Okay.
have deployed some proper stable version, I mean, with the multiple changes. At the end of the day, observed there might be some small bug or something, which is very much important to go into production. So those fixes, you have to do it immediately and send it to production.
Mhm.
Or maybe from the front end, maybe some small changes, hotfix in the sense it will be deployed for time being, and
Anyone else?
Yeah, it's a ad hoc fix. We put it in the production to run the code smoothly.
Mhm.
unless we deploy the through proper channel, like testing in QA, pre-prod, production.
Okay. Then what is hotfix?
Hotfix is the
Yeah.
ad hoc fix we do. Like if any code breaks in the production, to fix it run smoothly, we'll deploy the code through
Exactly.
hotfix.
So guys, bug. You got a bug. That means your software which is released has some issue. Okay. So 2 + 2 is not 4. Instead, if it is coming 5, there is a bug. So you need to work on it. You need to test it locally, and then you need to go to dev, and then it goes all the way down. Okay, all the way to the higher environment. But hot fixes, your application, your product's application, which you have released it. Okay, there is a vulnerability identified, which is nothing but some issue is identified across the world. For example, so the vulnerability is, okay, anyone who is using some Apache library XYZ version. Okay, if you're using that, okay, so log4j vulnerability is there. That means anyone, hackers, if they find that you're using this particular software, they can execute the commands remotely on the top of your server. Okay, that is a vulnerability that was published by the community, that hackers are trying to attempt the servers or the applications that are having some Apache library XYZ. Okay, now you cannot say that, okay, this is my process. First, I'll do the testing on the top of my development environment, and then I'll go to the pre-prod environment, and then I'll go to the QA environment. And after that, I'll try to talk to my management. I'll try to approve it on the production environment. And no, that is a bug. That's how the bug development works. Okay, but hot fixes are typically released to address the critical issues that needs to be fixed immediately, like your security vulnerabilities or big fixes that is impacting your business, that cause widespread problem for your entire users. Okay, well, bugs or patches on the other hand, they go in a regular basis as per the environment. Okay, so hot fixes are typically smaller than bugs and patches, but have very high impact. Okay, hot fixes are highly often few lines of code or certain softwares that needs to be updated, which is going to fix some very critical issues. Okay, so if you want to apply any sort of hot fix, you directly do it in the pre-prod environment, and then you'll try to update into the prod, because hot fixes will happen very quick. If you remember last year, okay, a new vulnerability in the internet was published. If you remember this, Google log4j vulnerability 2021. Okay, so let's see this. So log4j vulnerability is nothing but, okay, so log4j is a logging software which is from a company called as Apache. So anyone who is using, okay, the software with version x.y, okay, so their software is subjected to the attacks by the exploiters or the hackers. So if you're using that software, they have identified a bug in that log4j software library. What they can do is they can identify your machine, and they can execute the commands and can steal your logs from your system remotely sitting in their machine. Okay, then immediately what the community Apache they did mention, so the software, anyone who is using x.y software is subjected to the issue, is subjected to that particular issue. The alternative for that is every one of you should upgrade to x.y. Okay, x.z. If you are not upgrading to x.z, that you are potentially impacted. Okay, so if you are using x.y, okay, if you don't need, just remove that software, or if you need this, like upgrade your x.y to x.z. Okay, so what immediately people did, rather than waiting on all the process, they did hotfix. They did this testing on the top of a pre-prod. Immediately they did it on the top of the production environment. So the hotfixes are like, which needs higher attention because it might cause a potential impact on your issues. They try, in companies, we try to little push the process and we'll try to implement it on the production as quick as possible. Okay, while bugs and fixes will go through as a part of the process and as a part of the cycle. All right. So hot fixes are very, very urgent, and the size of the changes are very, very small. And I mean, critical issues that needs to be fixed on a very high priority are considered as hot fixes, and the urgency is immediate. Okay, so yeah, all right, that's the difference between. And if you are working on hot fix, you can also say that log4j-fix. Okay, this is the naming standards that you need to follow. Okay, so try to follow the standards. I still see, even in my, I mean, I still see people who are with 5, 7, 8 years of experience don't follow the standards. If in your company, if they are not following, just try to insist them. And if they are following, try to adopt or try to be in sync with them. Okay, so that's about the Git branching strategy. We have learned about Git flow using the promotion strategy. We also saw how the release strategy works. So in the release strategy, typically we go with things called as a tags, and using the tags, okay, we are gonna mark the software release. And this release strategy is also called as a trunk based model, because we are not going to entertain multiple branches. Rather, only one branch will be there, and rest of the branches are short living branches. The moment your pull request is approved and it is merged into the chain development into the main branch, we immediately terminate this. Okay, this is also best practice. We don't need this branch anymore. Okay, that is also one of the best practice. But in some companies, the moment you raise a PR and merge it, branch will be deleted automatically. And this is another very, very, very important question. What will you do if you accidentally delete a branch in GitHub? Okay, this is one of the most famous question if you are applying for junior roles like 3 years, 4 years roles. This is very famous question. Okay, what will you do if you accidentally delete the branch? What will you do if you accidentally delete a branch? Okay, then you need to ask, is it GitHub or local? Okay, if it is local, the answer is different. But if it is, okay, if it's GitHub, we have an option to restore the branch. All right. So yeah, that's about GitHub, branching strategy, and all these things. Now let's try to see the things in action. Okay, now what I would like to do first, let's try to create a branch. Okay, now I already created a branch, right? So come here. Okay, come here, and for example, Linux nodes, or let's go to Git. Okay, I would like to clone a repository whose name is Git. So clone the code. Now come here, open your Git bash, go to cd bash 54. Now try to do a Git clone this. Now you have cloned the repository. Now you enter into Git. Enter. Now if you see, without even you asking what it is telling you the main branch, right? So that means what is the default when you downloaded it, when you cloned a repository, by default, whatever the branch that it is default will be shown up here. So how do I come to know how many branches are there? So git branch. So git branch is a command which is going to show you the list of branches that are available on your repository. Along with that, it is also going to show you the current branch that your changes are going to be. That means what is your current branch? It's also going to show. Okay, so since I am only having one branch, which is nothing but the main branch, it is showing the main branch. Okay. Now, how can I create a branch? Okay, how can I create a branch? So when you want to create a branch, you should be very sure what will be the source branch. Okay, that means from which branch you want to create. That means from where you want to copy the code and want to create a version of it. Okay, so if the current branch is main, and if you create a branch now a new branch will be created by copying the code from the main branch. For example, if you have created a branch called a stage, if you create a branch right now, okay, since your current branch is main, your new branch will be created from the main as a reference. Okay, now how do I come to know which branch you are in? Git branch is a command. All right, Git branch is a command. Okay, now how can I create a branch? Git branch is a command. Git branch name. If you just create a branch name, it's going to create that. For example, I would like to create a branch called a stage. Enter. Now, if you say git branch, now can you see this? Now, two branches are available, main branch and stage branch. Okay, but how do I come to know which branch you are in right now? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, Lakshmi Narayan. Yeah, Shrikant. Yeah, Goga.
It's in main branch.
Yes. How do you come to know?
It shows in the open bracket and close bracket.
If you don't have this,
Then we are in
star,
main,
right?
it shows in, yeah.
Exactly. Okay, that's an indication of it. Now, Now, what I want to do now, what I want to do is, for example, you come here, code, Git. Okay, open your Visual Studio Code. It's going to open it on the top of your Visual Studio Code. Okay, now what I want to do is you come here and on this, okay, open the terminal. Now what I want to do is I would like to, you can also execute the same commands here itself. Okay, even here you can execute it. All right, you can also execute the same commands here as well. Git branch. End of the day, it is executing the commands backend. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I could see one question from Yoga: how we will merge the how merge conflict will resolve in both strategy. Yoga, we haven't discussed any basic set. We'll talk about that in the later section. But for now, let's try to focus on basics. And in some time, like from 15 to 20 minutes, I'm gonna address that as well. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. What I want to do is I want to switch to this branch and I want to do all the changes. Okay. Now the command for that is git checkout. Okay. And the command to do that is git checkout. Okay. Git checkout is a command which helps you in switching the branch from one branch to another branch. Right now you're on, okay. Right now you're on main branch. Now git checkout stage. Okay. If you say this, your current branch will be switched to from main branch to the stage branch. Now, if you can you see this? You can see a command here, switch to the branch stage. Switch to the branch stage. Now, this is how you can switch between the branches. Now try to run the git branch command. You can see right now you're on the stage branch. Now, what you want to do is you want to do some changes. Now, for example, you come here, you come here. Let's try to see. Now, I would like to add some lines like, okay, so what I want to do is, okay, I would like to add a couple of lines. Merge conflict. Okay. Okay. So let's try to ask this. Let's try to ask. Let's try to add this. Okay, because I want to update a README file. So I want to add it. So what I want to add is this is what I would like to add. Okay. So a merge conflict occurs when a version of the file has been submitted. That is your version of the Git, blah, blah, blah. For something, I have added some lines. Okay. Now I also want to add one more file called as stage. Okay. Stage.md. Okay. This is one file I'm adding. Okay. Okay. Stage file. Okay. This file contains all the information that is related to staging environment. Okay, I have created this file. Now you have created a branch called a stage on your local Git, not on the GitHub. Keep this point in mind. You have created this locally. Now, what I want to do is I want to push the changes. Okay, I want to commit the changes. Okay, so git add dot is a command. Okay, git add dot, which is going to tell Git start tracking all the changes that are made so far. Enter. Now I would like to add some comment, git commit -m. Okay, so stage file is added. And what are the changes you made? And updated the README file with merge conflict definition. All right. Now I want to push the changes. Now all these days you're doing a git push, right? Okay. Now how it comes to know, it has to push to the particular branch. Okay. For example, if you come here, guys, if you come here, there is only one branch. If you notice, view all branches, there is only one branch. Now see the magic. Okay, git push. Whenever you want to push the changes to the remote repository, you need to use something called as origin. Origin represents it is a remote repository. Git push origin. Origin is nothing but you're telling Git it is a remote repository and you need to mention the branch name. Now, whatever the changes that you made on the top of the stage branch will be pushed to the stage branch. Here two conditions. Okay, here two conditions. If the stage branch is there, then it pushes the stage branch. If the stage branch doesn't exist, then it creates the branch and then pushes it to the stage branch. Okay, this is very important. Okay, now git push origin stage. Can you see this? Can you see this, guys? Now it also told you changes have been pushed. If you want to raise a pull request, you can raise. Now you come here, do a refresh. Can you see this? The other branch is there. Guys, can you see this? The other branch is there. Is it clear, guys? Okay. Now if you see this, whatever the changes you made are not on the main branch. So for example, if you go to the stage branch, you can see another file called as stage.md. And at the same time, you can also see the changes that you made here are available only on the stage branch, not on the main branch. So you come here and try to change to main branch. If you see this, there is no definition of merge conflict. Okay. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna raise a pull request. What is a pull request? Pull request is like asking permission for someone to review the changes and approve and review. Okay. So let's try to see that. Let's try to see that. I hope no questions so far. Okay. All right. Let's try to see that. Now I would like to raise a pull request. I would like to raise a pull request. So how can I raise a pull request? Okay. So right now it is prompting me to raise a pull request. Now you can compare and raise a pull request, and you can say that updated. Okay. So this needs to be reviewed by someone. So it's like an email with proper description so that others will have some better context. Okay. So updated the README file with merge conflict. With merge conflict definition and an added staging env file. Okay, you can mention. Okay, you need to detail it. You need to describe it detail. Okay, so okay, you can also mention who is the reviewer whom you want to review it. So right now, B54 Cloud DevOps is an organization. Right now, I'm the only person who is there, but no one else is there. But if you want to add anyone, you can also add. Okay, typically in company along with you there are 4 to 5 people or 10 people who will be a part of this organization. If you are working for a payment application, for the payment application repository, there are some reviewers in the team who can help you with that, right? So if you want to create a pull request, or if you want to add anyone to the org, in my case, like I don't have any org, I can add anyone. For example, what I can do is I can come here, I can invite anyone, like invite someone to B54 Cloud DevOps. Okay, invite someone to B54 to Cloud DevOps. In your case, if you join a company, they'll ask you what is your GitHub ID. Okay, you need to tell my GitHub ID is Coding Manoj. Okay, my GitHub is Coding Manoj. Now they'll invite you like this. Okay, invite someone to B54. Now I also have another account. Okay, and I also have another account called as Trainer Manu Verma. So I'm gonna invite him. Okay, invite the member, and this is his member name, Trainer Manu Verma. I would like to invite him. Okay, let's see. Now it's asking me to enter the password. I entered the password. Now, what is his role in the organization? He's just a member. Okay, he's my peer. Now I just invited him. Now, the moment you invited him, you will get an email. Okay, so for example, you come here, and if you say this, you got an email just now. Okay, just now you got an email. And what it says at Coding Manoj has invited you to join the organization B54 Cloud DevOps. So you also in your organization, when you join, they'll invite you to the particular group. All you need to do is you need to join the community. That's all. Okay, I'm joining this organization. Okay, done. Now you have joined the organization. Okay, now you can raise a pull request and can add him. So for example, in the reviewers, now still it's not showing. You can mention at trainer Manu Verma. I have updated the repo with the README file and added the staging environment. Well, please take a look and provide your review accordingly. Okay. Now I'll raise a pull request. I forgot to add the reviewer. I'll click on this. Now I'll add the reviewer trainer.manoverma. That's all. The moment you mention it, okay, so the other person whom you have requested, he'll get an email. Okay, now he'll get an email. Can you see this? Now, if you see this update, okay, now you got a request from the Coding Manoj P. so what it says is this. Okay, so what it says is updated the README file. You got a request for the pull request. You can view and merge the pull request. So you can click on this link. Now you will come to know. Okay, now you are someone who is supposed to review this. Okay, now I would like to add my review, and you are reading this. Updated the README file with a merge conflict definition and adding the staging environment file. Now, if you want to see what are all the files that are changed as a part of this, that okay, if you see the changes are coming from stage branch to the main branch. Okay, now click on the files change. Okay, click on the files change. If you see this, you have added some lines here. Okay, and that's the reason it's showing plus, and you have removed one line, and that's the reason it's showing minus. And you also added one more file, and the name of the file is stage.md, where plus indicates all of them. And if things looks good to you, you can add your comment. Okay, review the changes. Okay, you can approve it. Changes looks good, and it's good to go. Something, or if it's not looking good, you will say that they are not looking good. You can also request for the changes, but now I'm approving it. Done. Okay, I approved it. Done. Now you come here at the right side. Can you see this? The moment I approved it, you can see the positive, tick mark, which means that the PR is approved. Okay, since the PR is approved, you got an option called as merge the pull request. Merge the pull request is nothing but the changes that are coming from stage are approved and they are ready to move to the main branch. Okay, now you can do a merge pull request, and whatever the changes that you have made on the stage branch are went to the main branch. Okay, now you can confirm the merge. Now the changes will go to the main branch, and if you no longer need the branch, you can delete the branch. Okay, for example, if you accidentally deleted it, you can also restore it. Simple. Okay, now if you come here and you look at the Git main branch, okay, now you can see the README file in the main branch. Now if you come here and you switch to the main branch, Git stars, okay, draw that, yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me commit the changes. Updated. I want to preserve the updated the state file. Done. Just a second. Just a second. Done. Now git checkout. Okay, you're switching to the main branch. Okay, now you're switching to the main branch. Now, do you think that you have the state.file here? No. Now, if you come here and if you see, do you have the merge definition? So can anyone tell me why the changes are not shown up here? Anyone? Anyone who is interested? I approved the changes on the GitHub. I can see that the changes are merged to the main branch, but when I check local, it's not showing. Anyone can tell me? Anyone? Rahul, Prabhu, Shashwat. Anyone?
We to do
Chinmay?
Git pull.
It's a local, we have to do Git pull.
To pull it.
What do you mean by pull? That's it?
I mean,
Yes.
the main branch.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't mention by default, it's a main branch. Okay. Now the changes are pulled. Now you can see the state file. You can also see the Git conflict message. Is it clear? The Git pull request, approval request, pushing to the main branch. Is it clear or not, guys? Clear or not? Is it clear, guys? Anyone? Any questions, anyone?
I have one question, Manu.
1 minute, Vagesh. Chinmay, go ahead. Do you have any questions?
Sorry, I'm blurring.
Yeah. Vagesh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just getting confused between this branch and environment.
What is confusion in that? Both of them are two different things, right? What is your question? I didn't understand.
Branch anyway, we know we will create a test stage in for even for test and stage. So like I'm just getting confused between the branch and environment here.
Where branch is residing?
In the Git, yes.
Where is your infrastructure residing? In your cloud or in your on-prem? Agree? It's a server, right?
Okay.
What is the
Yeah.
difference between them?
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Perfect. That's it. Any questions, anyone? Any questions? Any questions, anyone? Okay, guys. Another shortcut, for example, right now you're on which branch? You're on the main branch, right? Now, for example, if you want to create a branch and if you want to switch, you can also use the same command git checkout -b qa branch. If you say this, okay, if you use the flag -b, it is going to create a branch from the main branch. It is also going to switch. Okay, so for example, so the git. Okay, now you're on the main branch. Okay, now git checkout -b qa branch. Now it's going to create the branch and we are also going to switch to the branch. Okay, this is one shortcut where you can move from one branch to another branch. This is one shortcut. Okay, this is one shortcut. All right, guys. Any questions, anyone? Any questions, anyone?
So can we create one more branch from the QA branch?
Yeah, sure. So which branch you're in right now? Okay, git checkout. Okay, git branch. Okay, you're in the QA branch, right? Now I would like to create another branch. Git checkout. Okay, for example, let's do some changes. Okay, I would like to create a branch called as QA env.txt. Okay, where this file will be created? QA branch, right? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create another branch called as dev branch. Git checkout -b dev. Okay, ls-ltr. Now the branch is created from the QA environment. Okay, now I would like to create another file dev-env.txt ls-ltr. Now the development branch has all the changes. Okay. All right. Is it clear? Now another question. Another question. So since we are using the central Git, okay. So let me try to show you something. Okay. So git checkout main branch. Can you see this? Do you have all the files? Oh, sorry. Do you have all the other files here? Git branch main. Can you see this? Which branch you're in? You switch it to the main branch, right? Now you have the QA branch. You also have the stage branch. All right. You can switch. For example, if you want to switch to stage branch, just switch it to the dev branch ls. Can you see all the files now? That's it. All right. But if the branch doesn't exist, it's going to create in the destination branch when you do a git push origin. If you don't add origin, it says that branch doesn't exist because origin indicates that you are trying to push it to the main branch. All right. Similarly, if you want to pull some changes from some XYZ branch, for example, right now you're on. Okay, right now you're on which branch? Git branch. Dev branch ls. Right now, what I'm going to do is git checkout to QA git branch, git checkout QA-branch. Okay, now you have switched to the main branch, right? Now you switch it to the not main branch. What is the branch? We are checked out to the QA branch. Now, if you want to pull the changes or if you want to push the changes, you use git push origin QA-branch, right? Now your changes are pushed to the QA branch. You might think that branch doesn't exist, but it is going to create it. Okay, if you see nothing is there, you do a refresh, you can see them. Can you see this? The branch is created. All right, that's how we can play with Git. Now, any questions, anyone? Similarly, if you want to pull the changes from a specific branch, for example, you are right now on the top of QA branch. Now, if you want to pull the changes, if you do git pull, it directly refers to main branch. But if you want to pull from the specific branch, you're going to mention git pull origin QA-branch. It's going to pull the changes from the QA branch. Okay, for example, I try to do the changes manually on the QA branch. For example, it's not recommended. You should never ever do any changes on Git like this, how I'm doing, but just for the demonstration purpose, I'm gonna do it. So since I'm doing something, so just some spelling correction, commit. You should never ever do the changes directly on UI. Now I would like to pull the changes. Git pull origin QA branch. Now it's going to pull the changes from the particular branch. And if you see this, it has a change on the README file. Can you see this? And it says the change is on the line number 2. Okay, it's 2 changes, one is plus and one is minus. So I corrected it here. That's all it is telling. All right, I removed one thing and I added something. That's it. All right. And I'm good. If you have any questions, you can post me. If not, we are good for today. Any questions, anyone? Guys, if you need to ask more questions, this is very, very important. Very, very important. And also another question Yoga Lakshmi asked, what is merge conflict? What is a merge conflict? What is merge conflict? This is also a very important thing. What is merge conflict in GitHub? Okay, so you have a file. Okay, for example, you are having a repository. You're having a branch, and the name of the branch is main branch. Okay, and the name of the branch is main branch. And in this branch, we are having a file called as main.txt. Okay, main.txt is one file which is there. It has a lot of files. I just want to speak about main branch. Now someone has checked out a branch. Okay, and the branch name is feature 1. And this branch is being worked by Yoga. Okay, Yoga is working on his branch. Done. Now she is doing some changes on the top of main.txt file. Okay, she's working on, she's updating some changes on the top of this main.txt file. Done. Still she's doing some changes locally. Okay, she has not pushed the changes yet, but she's still doing the changes. Okay, fine. Let's her do some changes. Meanwhile, Manoj Verma, what he did, he's also working on some feature and he want to add some code to the main.txt file. Now what he did, he also checked out from this branch. Now he also does some changes on the top of. Okay. Now I did some changes on the top of the same main.txt file. Okay. What are the txt file? Okay, feature.txt file. Now I also did some changes, but whatever the changes that Yoga did on her own branch on that particular file, main.txt file, and I also did some changes. Now I raised a PR and I merged the changes to this. Done. Now, after 1 day or 2 days, or after one particular day, or after I do a pull request and after I merged it, and if she raises the pull request now she'll get a merge conflict on that particular file because Git is confused. Now, if she raises, okay, so she'll get a conflict. Now she'll get a conflict, Git conflict. Okay, now she'll get a Git conflict. Why? Okay, this is not the right word by the Git merge conflict. Okay, so merge conflict is nothing but at 10 o'clock I have checked out and I did some changes. At 11 o'clock I have updated. Okay, now at the same 10 o'clock, okay, after 10 o'clock, Yoga has checked out the branch and she's doing some changes and she's pushing the changes to, she's raising a pull request at afternoon 2 o'clock. That means when she has fetched that file, okay, when she has checked out from the branch main, the state of the file main is different than what it is right now. Okay, so when she checked out the state, the current condition of the main branch is different. Now, when she is pushing, whatever the changes that she has are different from what they're available right now, then she'll get a merge conflict on that file. That means you need to tell to Git, hey, this conflict is known. Resolving the merge conflict is like you need to tell, accept the changes. You need to tell Git, hey, accept the changes. These changes I know. You don't worry about it. Merge conflict. Conflict is nothing but discrepancy. So Git is getting confused, telling that when you have taken the main.txt file from me, the file has been updated by someone already, and whatever the file that you have taken and whatever is there on the top of it, both of them are two different files. Ensure your changes are correct or others changes are correct. You need to click yes or no. Okay, resolving the merge conflict is nothing but that. All right, is it clear? Any questions, anyone? This is called as merge conflict. Yoga answers your question.
Thanks, ma'am.
All right. So can we merge the branch using GitHub dashboard or on the command line also? It's possible. Both. Okay. You can also get the merge conflict. If you're getting a merge conflict, you will get accept the changes here button you'll get on the Visual Studio Code or on the GitHub branch also. While you're raising a pull request also, you get it. Okay. Resolve the merge conflict. Okay. But typically you need to resolve it. You'll get a button here, accept the incoming changes button. You need to click that to resolve and then you need to push it. Okay. So what is the need of Git commit message? So technically Git commit message is like you are telling what changes you have made. Okay, what changes you have made is something you are telling Git. Okay, what are the changes? For example, I have added env file or I have updated the readme file, like that. Whatever the changes that you make, you need to update them to have a better commit history. Can we merge the branch using? I think I addressed it. All right, hope this session is interesting, guys. Hope this session is interesting. Wonderful. Good answers. Perfect. Anything else, anyone? If you have any questions, please do raise your hand. If not, we are good for today. Any questions, anyone? Sorry. Any questions? I would like to take a pause to take up any questions if you have any.
Sir, in case multiple people are working in one features,
Mhm.
so suppose it is feature one and multiple users are working on that feature, so you can make that much branches out of that.
Yeah. You can, people consider it as, for example, if you are working on a feature voice call one, technically voice call cannot be delivered by a single person, right? So what they do, they try to split that feature 1, 1.0, 1.2, 1.3, or feature 1, okay, module 1, feature 1, module 2, like that also you can do that, right?
All right, sir. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any questions, anyone? Any questions, anyone? Any questions? Any questions, anyone? I think, yeah, good to go. That's for today, guys. If you have any questions, just feel free to reach me. And yeah, that's about Git. Okay, the only thing that we missed is Git. Okay, Git is an ocean, by the way. So Git merge is something we haven't covered. We'll see that in tomorrow's session. And that's for today. Okay, so if you're really interested about Git, so Git is an ocean. Okay, Git is an ocean. So it's an ocean. As I said, it's an ocean. You don't, but technically you don't have to know anything, everything, because technically learning everything is not possible. But if you know this, it's a easy start. You can start with it. Okay, as I said, it's an ocean. We need to know based on the need to know basis. Okay, that's it. But yeah, we should be good. All right, that's it. So the only few things which we have missed is, as per my understanding, git fetch is something we missed. Git fetch. Okay, a git merge is something we have missed. We'll talk both of them tomorrow. And there's also something called as git stash. We'll see all three of them in tomorrow's session. And that's for today.
Is there something also called git rebase?
Yeah, git rebase is also there. Yeah, you want to know that. So git rebase is something that comes majorly from the development front. You don't have to, you'll never do it in your lifetime, but we can also see that. That's not a big deal. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Git rebase, git check, git, honestly, cherry pick. So these are some fancy things which you never do. Usually these are development scope. Okay, they play between the branches, but as a DevOps and cloud guy, you never do a cherry pick or do a rebase, all these things. But just know it. But if you don't understand, that's 100% fine. But try to focus on rest of the things. Okay. Yeah, these are the things that we are to cover, and whatever we have discussed, everything is enclosed inside the Git repository. So please ensure you read this commands. Okay, that's more than enough to kickstart. All right, and that's it. Have a great rest of the day and signing off. See you tomorrow. Bye.